Are you ready to save a little time and sanity in your back to school prep? Well, let me tell you, you don't need to build your own binder, create cute labels, do elaborate decor, or spend hours creating or tons of money purchasing decor for your classroom to be organized and ready for the school year. Don't get me wrong, I love decorating a classroom. I do. Having a space I enjoy being in makes going to school just that little bit more enjoyable. But it's not the most important thing. Today, let's take a hot second and talk about some essential pieces I do first before all that fun decor that will make your school year so much easier. I'm Lisa Burns, a teacher success coach, veteran elementary teacher, and mom of 5. And this is the Teach Joyfully podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Are you missing out? Team H.O.P.E Insiders get extra encouragement, tips and tricks, surprise freebies, and more. Become a H.O.P.E Insider today and get access to all kinds of freebies at www.hopeineducation.com/vault. All right, let's dive in. The first thing is you need to plan all the extra things. Birthdays, 100th day, meet the teacher, back to school night, holiday celebrations, end of the year, field trips, and any other events or days that you know about before the school starts. If you can do this, it will make your life so much easier. These are the kinds of things that will happen during the school year that if we're not ready for, we're at Target at 10 o'clock at night trying to get supplies, figure things out, and that is not fun. So save yourself that time, agony, and energy and plan them in advance. Then put them on your calendar, your planner, and a week or two before, put a note in a Post-it or in a bright color that says what supplies you will need or what prep you need to do for those particular events. So you don't even have to prep them all in advance. You just have to plan them now so you know what you need. Then you can take care of it as the school year happens. But if you don't plan ahead, you will be at Target or Walmart late at night trying to figure it out. And that is never a good day for anyone because the next day you're going to be exhausted. Don't do that to yourself. Take the time to get it done now. Okay, next one. Keep things simple but fun. There's no elaborate birthday rituals or gifts. I can't tell you how many times teachers start these big elaborate rituals for any particular event and then regret it later because here they are trying to manage it. So something that happens on a regular basis, like birthdays, is something that you want to keep as simple as possible. Just because you're keeping it simple doesn't mean it can't be fun. If you're in primary grades, make a paper crown where you can do it on the spot and then let your students choose something from a prize box or an eraser bin with cute erasers in it, or they can sit in a special spot for the day or any combination of things like that. I even know a teacher who does balloon animals for students' birthdays. She's very quick at it. She has all the supplies in her classroom at all times, and she takes requests. How fun is that? Keep it simple and as inexpensive as you can while still being fun. The next one is plan your systems. Think of all the ways students need to move about the classroom, turn in papers, check in, line up, go to the bathroom, get supplies, and on and on. And then think of all the ways any of these systems have broken down in the past. Make a plan for how you want things done and a plan to train your students while you're at it. This will save you so much time and energy. It really is essential that not only do you make a plan for exactly how you want things to go, but that you make a plan for training your students. That plan is something that we often forget. We plan all the systems and we plan exactly how we want everything to go, but we don't make an exact plan for how we're going to train our students. And then we're training them on the fly, and that never goes as well as we think it's going to, which means you'll pay for that all year long. So don't make that mistake. Make a plan for exactly how you're going to train your students in every one of your systems. I promise you will not regret this. This is a game changer. We all have ways that we want our classroom to run, but the mistake is in not training well. And this is the game changer. All right, moving on. The next one is setting up your teaching spaces. Yes, we need to set up our classroom and get the layout and all of that. But then when we come down to the nitty-gritty, we need to make sure that we're setting up our teaching spaces very specifically. We teach in whole group, small group, and individually, and we need to make sure that our spaces are ready for us so that we can teach effectively. This includes your teacher desk if you have one. So we give so much attention to room layout, bulletin boards, decor, and all the things, but so often we neglect our own spaces until the very end, right before school starts. You need to have a one-touch or fingertip system in each one of the spaces where you actually do specific teaching. Everything needs to be at your fingertips. Think of what supplies you'll need. What will you be doing in these spaces? What kind of activities will you be doing? So what will you need in order to do those activities with your students? Do you need an easel, a whiteboard, books, storage? Do you need art supplies? Do you need something else? Whatever it is that you need to make sure it's right there and you can grab it and go at any given time. Think of it ahead of time. Really think through your teaching and how do you teach in each one of those spaces, and make a list of everything you'll need in any specific space. So I have a big U reading table that I love and use all the time. I use it to teach small groups in reading, writing, and math. So I need supplies for all of those activities at that table. So I have a shelf behind my reading table that has all the supplies I'll need when I'm teaching students in that space. And it is a one-touch system. Everything is right there, so I can turn around, grab it, and we get busy. I don't have to think about it. Everything I need is right there, and I don't have to go and prep it all the time because it's already prepped. This is the kind of system that you need to run in those spaces. I also have a carpet that we teach at by the main board in the classroom. Students will come and sit in small group and in whole group, more whole group than anything else, but everything that I need is right there. The only thing that I have to add to it at any given time is books. Whatever books we're using to teach with in that week, that month, that unit, those are the things that I have to add and subtract. Everything else is right there where I need it. And if it's not working for you once the school year starts, get in there and rearrange it so that it does. Really take the time to think through how you use that space and what a one-touch system would be like in that space. It is a game changer. You are going to really appreciate having taken the time to do that. And now let's talk routines. Now, routines are a little bit different than systems. Systems are how your classroom functions at any given moment. How do you get supplies? When are students allowed to shop for books? All of those kinds of things. Routines are something that you do as a whole all the time. How do you start your day? How do you end your day? How do students come back in from lunch and get settled back in so that they're ready to learn? Those are routines that you need to have in your classroom. You need to make a plan because I want you to think about this. How many times have your students come back in from the playground with all their problems seeping back into the classroom? Playground problems can be a real issue, and I will link an episode and a resource for that in the show notes for you. But if you have a routine for how students are going to come back and integrate back into the classroom and leave all of that behind, it will save you a lot of time and energy and will save your students a lot of agony. Letting go and moving on is hard. So having a routine for that will really change how things function after recess. The same is true with your morning and your end of day. You need to have strong routines for students so they know exactly what you're doing when you come in the classroom and when you're getting ready to leave the classroom. So take a minute and think, do your students come into the classroom as they arrive at school? Or do they line up on the playground in the morning and you go and get them and they come in as a whole group? How they come into the classroom will change your routine. If your students are coming in as a whole group, the routine is a whole class routine and you all are doing it together. If your students are coming in as they arrive at school, then it's different. You need to have a different set of things for students to do in order for them to integrate into the classroom and get ready to learn. This is your golden opportunity to set your students up for success regardless of what their morning has looked like before they arrived at school. You also need to have a routine for how students will leave your classroom. And when students are getting ready to leave, that doesn't start like 2 seconds before the bell rings and everyone is out the door. That starts about 10 to 15 minutes prior to the time that they're actually leaving. You can be singing a song. Maybe you're straightening up the classroom at the end of the day so you aren't left with your students' mess and they take some pride in their space. I'm a firm believer in this one. Whatever it is that you're going to do, you need to have a strong routine for students to leave the classroom so that their last memories are good. Whatever it is that you're going to do, you need your students to be a team. This is a time for teamwork. You're going to get the classroom ready for the end of the day, clean it up, prep it for the next day. This gives you a minute, it gives them a minute. Everyone has time to get whatever it is they need to take home. If they have work they have to take home or notes, if there's something that they need to do at home and bring back, all those things that you're trying to make sure happen and happen smoothly, you need to plan for that, and then you'll have to decide how much time you need for that end of the day routine. So my end of day routine looks like this. We quickly put away whatever it is that we were working on for our last subject, and then everyone has a job and we all get busy. I usually have a song that's playing and we get in there and everyone has something they're supposed to do. Even if it's just cleaning up their own space, picking up the floor, or making sure that our classroom is picked up and everything is put away. It's a quick scan around the classroom and everyone participates. And then it's time to get yourself ready to go. Everyone gets all of their work ready to take home. Whatever it is that they're taking, they need to make sure that it's prepped and ready long before we go rushing for a backpack. And that includes any books they're taking home so they can read at home. Once we have it all ready and it's stacked on their desk, then they can go and get their backpacks, pack it all up, and get ready to go. And at the end of the day, we sing Happy Trails as we're lining up and getting ready to go, except for Friday. We have a Friday song for that. Your routine can be anything that you want it to be. I like my classroom to be picked up, and I like my students to take pride and ownership in that process as well. It makes for a very different student who is taking care of the classroom than the one who's being picked up after all the time. And leaving with a silly song or having some fun as they're going out the door is always a win. So take the time to plan that end of day routine. End the day with a bang. Make sure that everything gets straightened up and cleaned up so when you walk back in that classroom after all your students are gone, you aren't left with a big cleanup job before you can even get down to business and getting yourself ready to go home. The next one is, what will you do with work students don't finish during the school day? Let's face it, not all students work at the same pace. There are always going to be things that are unfinished during the school day, and some students will have more unfinished work than others will. How are you going to keep track of that, and how are you going to make sure that it all gets done? I like to have a work in progress folder, so anything that students haven't finished, they can stick it in their work in progress folder, and anytime they have extra time, that's the first place they can go. They can go back in and work on anything that they haven't finished. And then I have a Friday Finishers Club. My Friday Finishers Club is time on Friday to finish anything that needs to get finished. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can certainly send homework that needs to be finished, but you do need to plan for when will your students finish that work. You need to have a plan for that. Will your students take it home with a note or finish when they have extra time or on Fridays? You just need to know exactly what you're doing and make sure your students understand as well. If you're going to send work home and you want to put a note with it on a regular basis, then you're going to need to make sure you have some notes prepped and printed so that they're ready to go. I love checklists, and then with a little space to write something on if any notes need to be put into it. It's a great way to stay organized and then keep yourself from having to write volumes on any particular paper that needs to go home. Regardless of what you do, make sure you have a plan for how all of that unfinished work is going to get done. And last but not least, I have 2 other folders that I like to make sure I have in my classroom. One is a take-home folder, which I'm sure you already have. Whether it's a folder or a binder, whatever you're using, make sure you have something. On one side of my folder, I make sure all the homework and notes for parents go home. And on the other side, I have a keep at home section so the parents know that this stuff can stay at home. It's all done. I also have an absent folder. Now I've seen them called catch-up folders and all kinds of cute things, and that's really fun. But the point is to collect any work while a student is absent so that they can get caught back up and you're not scrambling trying to figure out what they missed and get it all put together for them when they get back to school. It's just a matter of efficiency. I do like to have a form that is clipped to the front of the folder, and each subject has some checkpoints and a line or 2 that I can write on throughout the school day so that any notes that need to go with anything that's in there gets put down throughout the school day, and I don't have to do it at the end of the day. So unless you're a worksheet queen, you'll need a place for quick directions and or possibly a sticky note on each assignment that needs directions. Handing students a blank sheet of paper that they're supposed to write a story on is not going to work. You're going to need some sort of note so they know what to do with that blank sheet of paper. All right, so a quick recap. Number 1, plan all the things from birthdays to 100th Day to any other special days throughout the school year. You don't have to do all the prep work. You need to have a plan, and it needs to get on your calendar. Number 2, keep things simple and fun. Do not do elaborate routines for birthdays and things like that happen all the time. Keep it simple, keep it fun, and get in and out and get on with your day. Number 3, plan your systems. Think of all the ways that your students need to move about the room and have a plan for that. And don't forget while you're at it that you need a plan for how you're going to train your students. That is key to your systems. Then set up your teaching spaces. Do not leave them for the last second. You need to spend some time thinking about how it is you need these spaces to function so that you can run a one-touch or fingertip system. Then plan your routines. Set up your morning, end of day, and after lunch routines so that your students can get in the classroom and out of the classroom effectively and efficiently, and learning can just happen instead of all of the agony that can go along with any of these transition times. Don't forget to take time to think about what you're going to do with all that unfinished work that happens during the school day, because it is going to happen. So whatever is going to be unfinished, you need to make sure that you have a plan for that. And don't forget, you're going to need a take-home folder for your students. How will you organize that? What will the system be for that? And what will happen when students are absent? Make sure that you have a plan for that as well. Don't forget, I have a few freebies for you, and so all of those will be linked in the show notes. You can grab all my freebies in the vault. As always, that link is in the show notes as well. So that's it for this episode of the Teach Joyfully podcast, my teacher friends. My sincere thanks to you, my listeners, for tuning in, and for all those of you who have taken the time to post a review, email me your thoughts, or DM me on Instagram with your feedback and topic requests. You can find the show notes and all the resources mentioned in the episode on my website at www.hopeineducation.com/podcast. And this is episode 103. And remember, a happy teacher is a good teacher. Until next time, teach joyfully and take care of you.